The Silent Tragedy of the Osage Nation, a story of betrayal and greed. In the rolling hills of Oklahoma, where the prairie stretches endlessly under a wide, unbroken sky, a hidden drama unfolded in the early 20th century, a tale as American as the frontier itself. It is a story of ambition, betrayal, and a deep, lingering injustice that tore through the heart of the Osage Nation. By the 1920s, the Osage people had found themselves in an unexpected position of wealth. Beneath the land they were forced onto by the U.S. government lay one of the richest oil deposits in the country. Drilling rights brought immense wealth, making the Osage per capita some of the richest people in the world at the time. Their prosperity was symbolized in grand houses, expensive cars, and a life of relative luxury, a stark contrast to the grinding poverty of many white settlers in the region. Yet, this wealth came with a dangerous price. It drew envy, greed, and the malevolent intentions of those who believed the Osage had no right to such fortune. What began as quiet resentment grew into an orchestrated campaign of theft, manipulation, and, eventually, cold-blooded murder. The killings began discreetly. Molly Burkhart, an Osage woman of considerable standing, lost her family one by one. Her sister Anna disappeared one evening in 1921. Days later, Anna's body was found in a ravine. A bullet lodged in her head. It seemed like an isolated tragedy. But more deaths followed. Molly's other sister, Minnie, had already died under mysterious circumstances. Then her mother, Lizzie, succumbed to a suspicious illness. As the body count rose, whispers spread through the community. Osage men and women were dying with alarming frequency. Their deaths chalked up to accidents, suicides, or unexplained ailments. But the Osage knew better. They spoke of poisonings, staged shootings, and conspiracies. At the center of this dark web was William Hale, a white cattleman who cultivated an image of benevolence and generosity. Known as the King of the Osage Hills, Hale was deeply entrenched in the community. He advised, befriended, and ingratiated himself with the Osage. Yet, behind this facade, Hale orchestrated a plot to strip the Osage of their wealth. Hale's plan was insidious. He encouraged his nephews and associates to marry into Osage families. Once they gained control over their wives' wealth, often through court-mandated guardianships designed to protect Native Americans, they eliminated the heirs one by one. Molly Burkhart's own husband, Ernest Burkhart, was complicit in the scheme. A betrayal that cut deeply when the truth emerged. The murders might have continued indefinitely if not for the intervention of the newly formed Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. Under the direction of J. Edgar Hoover, the agency sent Tom White, a former Texas Ranger, to investigate. White and his team faced formidable challenges: corrupt local law enforcement, a culture of silence, and the cunning of Hale and his accomplices. Piece by painstaking piece, White uncovered the breadth of the conspiracy. Witnesses were coaxed into testifying. Documents were unearthed. And patterns of deceit and violence came to light. Hale's empire of lies began to crumble under the weight of evidence. In 1926, William Hale and several of his co-conspirators were tried and convicted. The trials revealed a harrowing reality: dozens of Osage had been systematically murdered in one of the most chilling examples of calculated greed in American history. Yet, justice was far from complete. Many murders were never prosecuted, and countless perpetrators walked free. For the Osage, the trials marked not closure but a painful acknowledgement of their vulnerability. Their wealth had made them targets, and the society that should have protected them had, in many cases, conspired against them. The story of the Osage Murders is not just one of crime but of a broader American reckoning. It lays bare the deep fractures of racism, greed, and exploitation that have scarred the nation's history. For the Osage, it is a reminder of resilience in the face of unimaginable betrayal. Today, the rolling hills of Osage County remain as silent witnesses to a tragedy that reshaped a people and a nation. The ghosts of those who were lost linger in the wind, whispering their story to those who are willing to listen, a story that demands to be remembered. Not for its horror, but for the hard truths it reveals about the past and the lessons it carries for the future.